Erin and Simon with Assets and Arbitrage. We hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. It's the middle of winter, so probably not much going on out there on January 28th. But we had wanted to finish the failure to launch and just kind of give you guys some points to keep in mind as we're doing stuff. So it is January. People should be at least cognizant of the goals that they want to achieve. I know we get into February and New Year, New Me goes out the window, right? Everybody done gave up on the transformations that they had promised themselves on January 1st. But we want in 2024 that we can continue to push. See, that's what I'm saying. Give me 1 second, y'all. I don't like this at all. Turn it off. All right, KW1. I hold that spot for BK Crypto so that he can be first because that's his thing.
Boom.
Hi, KW1. I hope you're having a great weekend. I hope you're feeling much, much better. I hope you're fully recovered. And we thank you for joining the show. So in part one, we were talking about the false narrative or the bad narrative, not necessarily false, but the bad narrative that failure is a bad thing, right? So I want to rephrase it because I said that failure is integral to success. But let me rephrase that. Failure within the process of trying to achieve success is integral because it allows you learning points, it gives you life experience, yada, 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 right? But today we're going to talk about real failure, real points of failure. Like, this is real. It's not integral to your success, it's just failure. But they're points that happen to a lot of people, right? Which is why successful people, wealthy people, whatever mindset idea you have for them, are in the minority, right? It's always that 20% who's doing 80% of the work or 100% of the work sometimes.
Yeah, it's called a phrase called power laws. If you look that up, power laws. The minority of the people do the majority of the work, and you can check that out. You see it in life all the time that even at your jobs, right? You see somebody, a few people will get
the majority of the work done.
Yeah,
and it's really it's really a mindset thing. So there's one thing in particular I kind of want to point out to you guys today that it gives you a false sense of progress, right? So let's say we're talking about Bitcoin. You meet somebody out in the street, you're talking to them about Bitcoin, and that person's okay, Bitcoin sounds interesting. So this personality type is going to go and study Bitcoin. Oh, okay, 100 million Satoshis is one whole Bitcoin. I can see that the price fluctuates. I'm going to look up Nakamoto Satoshi. I'm going to understand what sats are. I'm going to watch Michael Saylor. I'm going to watch every YouTube video Michael Saylor has ever done. I'm going to do all of the research on this company. And that person has not purchased one Satoshi, not one, right? So all of the research and stuff that they're doing gives them a false sense of, I'm working towards a goal, right? You tell somebody about silver, they're going to look everything up about silver. They're going to watch the markets. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. Dude, silver is less than $30 an ounce. What is holding you up? If you're interested, from buying 1 troy ounce of silver, right? You have the person who tells you, well, I'm going to write a book this year. They're going to do the master class on YouTube. They're going to purchase every book on Kindle Unlimited about how to write a book. And they don't so much as write down the title of the book, much less one word towards the book. So that personality type, and if it's you, you want to identify that. Right? That's a point of failure because you never get towards the goal and you feel like all of the research that you're doing is getting you closer towards the goal, but there's inaction there, right? It's a full on inaction. So that's point of failure 1. You have another personality type that they're planning, right? They're not doing all that research, but they're planning. And if they don't have absolutely everything, they ain't gonna do it at all, right? If you talk to somebody about silver and they're like, man, Simon family, y'all got a lot of silver. I can't afford all of that silver. So they don't even buy an ounce. And you have to tell them like, hey, you don't, we didn't start with 1 ounce. I mean, we didn't start with all of the silver. We did this ounce by ounce by ounce by ounce. You have the person who wants to write a book. If they don't have every chapter, all of the plot, all of the character development worked out in their mind right now, they don't work at the book at all. Right? So you want to kind of beware of that personality type. If you don't have everything, if you don't know how to do every single step, you do nothing. Right? So here's what we want to tell you, right? We are people who, I think people would call us reckless in a sense. I think they would call us reckless. We are a different personality type. Our personality type scares people, right? They often try to project their fear onto us, but we're so damn reckless and that their fear doesn't get projected on us. We're the type that and usually it's his idea, right? So I'm gonna blame him. When he has an idea and he's like, you know what? I was thinking about blah, 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 blah. Let's talk about moving out the country. Yeah, we moved to Mexico sight unseen. We did the YouTube thing. We did some research.
I did YouTube. Give me my due diligence.
At the time, they didn't have a lot of research. It was like 2 or 3, YouTubers who would take you on their journey.
Yeah.
They didn't look like us. Their families weren't set up like ours, so there was no relation there.
Yeah, because when you are looking to move to another country, depending upon how you live, is different from other people. So when you see, for example, I would go look on YouTube and find people living in Mexico, and they were single.
At the time, they didn't have a lot. It's not like now.
I'm not single. I have a wife. We have children. We have a family. So the things that they were showing you sometimes didn't relate to what you were trying to do. So you were trying to look for a family.
Yeah.
No matter the color, race, creed, at least you could get an idea, because we still have to think about things like
how do the kids adjust, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So this personality type, I'm gonna call us reckless. I'll call us risk takers.
Risk takers. There you go.
That's what I'll call us. If they get an idea on their mind, they don't need to have it all figured out. We will do as much due diligence as we possibly can, but we are going to take action and try to figure it out along the way. For us, failure is a critical aspect of how we operate, because that's how we learn. We try something, ooh, that didn't work. Let's adjust. Let's readjust. Let's eliminate. Let's add, right? Let's analyze. And every now and then we have to relaunch. And remember, we got to scrap this whole thing. We got to relaunch.
And remember, with failure, as you do over time, you will have less and less failures. So it won't be as volatile and rocky as when earlier you're trying things. As you get older, you kind of figure out stuff. The failures become less and less. And
not only that, it's not that the failures becoming less and less. You become more experienced. So you don't make what I like to call rookie mistakes. Right? You have a lot more experience. So you know ahead of time that, you know what, if I go to do this, this could be one of the consequences. So let me do this in order to kind of mitigate the consequence, or to eliminate the consequence, to soften it, what have you. And we're talking about these things because, again, wealth generation is mindset, right? We don't care if y'all don't move out of the country. We don't care if you don't buy silver. We don't care if you don't buy any sats. But what we're saying is, understand the different profiles and understand the different pitfalls that keep people from taking action. Your wealth builders, your successful people, the people who have the best outcomes as far as lifestyle and life goes, are action takers. Point blank, period. That's that. They are action takers. They do not fear to take some sort of action. They don't fear some sort of risk, and failure doesn't scare them. Right? Now, granted, there's a bit of risk to every failure. So you do want to, in your due diligence, kind of assess the risk, the people you have obligations to. Like, we're not so reckless that we don't do that, but we take a significant amount of action, and we don't let inaction prevent us from getting the outcomes that we're seeking. And that's really what the whole point of Failure to Launch on the show is. Don't allow inaction to prevent you from gaining the outcome that you're seeking. The majority of the audience on this show is about their tokens, their altcoins, Bitcoin. And for those of you who are precious metal aficionados like we are, right, we're about stacking. We're about dollar cost averaging. We're about making a commitment to be consistent and disciplined in order to get the outcome we are looking for, to get the outcome we are searching for. But understand that this particular mindset permeates other aspects of your life portfolio, right? So whether it's generating wealth, writing that book, starting that business, what else do people want to do? Purchasing that home. What else are outcomes that people look for? Building that relationship, building your marriage. Understand that all of your, go ahead, baby.
Oh, I'm sorry, and your health goals that we spoke
Health
about
goals,
earlier.
right? It's about taking action. Let's talk about the health part. You watch all of these TikTok videos, BK Crypto, boom. I tried to save your space, but KW1 took it.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Is that Will?
That's Will 45.
What up?
Hi,
What up?
Will 45.
How you
Thank
doing?
you so much for joining
Yes,
us.
yes, indeed.
So people watch all of the TikTok videos with the juicing. You're watching the different exercises, low impact exercises, if you got bad knees like me. Things you can do in your house so you don't have to have an expensive gym membership. You can watch that stuff till you blue in the face, but until you actually get up and get moving, right? Nothing's gonna happen. Right? My goal this year was to do minimum 10,000 steps a day. Right? I am excited if I can get at least 15,000 steps a day. If I can get 20, I'm over the moon, but my feet hurt. Y'all know I like to wear heels and stuff, so I don't want my feet to hurt. Bitcoin Zay was on our last show, and ladies and gentlemen, if y'all are up walking around anyway, if you still go to work on site, you work at a big ass hospital like we used to, and you know your unit is 1,000, 100,000 steps from the cafeteria, definitely download S Miles. I'm telling y'all, we're not sponsored by them, but it's a way to stack stats. There were a few little things Bitcoin Zay left out, so let me clarify them for you now, since I've been doing the beta testing.
Okay.
So you want to download S Miles or Smiles, right? In order to use it, you do have to download Google Fit.
Google Fit.
It is not a real-time pedometer, meaning it is going to aggregate your steps, and then every so often it'll refresh. If you use a smartwatch like I do, your smartwatch is going to be way more accurate in your steps than Google Fit and S Miles. They're giving the sats away for free, so understand you're not going to get, 200,000 sats.
No, you're not.
For 10,000 steps.
And I want to reiterate, because Bitcoin Zay had said in the last show, shout out to him, Bitcoin Zay, that he has 33 different ways that you can,
in his new book,
and to earn sats in his new book.
Yep.
So we got to support that, get that book, learn these ways to get free sats, because he said something I thought was very key. You can earn sats by doing something that you're going to do anyway. So if you're going to go ahead and walk, if you're going to use the card, get some, what do you say, rewards and sats.
If you were going to purchase stuff from this place anyway, you definitely want to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm talking specifically because we're on the discipline mindset, right?
Okay.
So S miles, we're gonna get the steps in.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who maybe notice, like, you know what, when I look at my pedometer, my watch, my phone, I'm only getting like 1,000 steps a day, and I've been up for the last 18 hours. Maybe earning sats might encourage you or motivate you to try to get more steps in. You get about 1 sat per 1,000 steps. So understand that by the end of my day, I've earned 16 to 20 sats per day. But little by little, by little by little, by little by little, you will be getting sats you didn't have to purchase.
Didn't have to purchase, and you could do it as a family.
That's what we're doing.
Have people download it. If everybody in your house has a phone, download it.
And we all go out and work together.
We
right?
work out together.
The boys play basketball. Dad and I walk. Dad be yelling at the kids on the court, running up and down the court as they're playing basketball.
I'm one of the coaches. So I coach the basketball here in this Mexican basketball league. For people who are familiar with that, it's really different. It's a lot different than coaching in the United States, but we still get it done.
If he could get sats for yelling, we would do great, y'all.
I'm not yelling. I'm not yelling at the kid. I'm just giving out direction, but it's loud in there.
Okay, he's commanding.
Yeah.
Right. Get to the rebound. What did you say about the boards? What's going on with the boards?
No, finish at the rim.
Finish at the rim, but you say something about the boards. The boards.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can do it as a family. Also, parents, it's great to get your kids to do that, right? I'm sure the average child has a cell phone now, or if they have a cute little smartwatch. Some watches will upload to Google Fit. You will have to do your due diligence to figure out which ones. I know the Fitbits work, but they're over like $100, $200. If you're serious about working out, then it's a great investment for you. But for like children, they have smartwatches as cheap as like $12 on Amazon that'll keep up their steps and stuff, and may upload to Google Fit. Again, you have to do the research to figure out what that is. But the point is taking some type of action gets you good outcomes. In this case, it's free sats, right? And you keep building on your free sats. Simon was telling me the other night as I was getting frustrated with my S Miles app, because I had to wait for it to refresh. It's behind almost 2,000 steps from my watch. He said, you know what, Erin, I know that you only earned 18 sats tonight, and that may sound demotivating to you, but in 2030?
So we have people who say in 2030, most notably probably Max Kaiser.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Max Kaiser. We would love for you to get in front of our audience any day of the week.
Yeah.
To talk to the brothers and sisters about your expertise in Bitcoin. But go ahead with this forecast, babes.
Yeah, Max Kaiser, Raoul Powell, these people, even Lynn Alden, if you know her, they're saying 2030, they're looking for, what do you call it?
Parity?
Parity between sats and the US dollar, where 1 sat is worth $1, which means.
So 6 years from now, if you did every single day, right? I'm not asking you to do 20,000 steps a day because your feet gonna hurt. But but even if you did 10 to 15, you get 1 sat for your first 1,000 steps. Mm-hmm. And then once you get to 10, you get 15 sats, right? And then you earn some extra ones outside of that. Like I did 16 or 17,000 steps and I had 17 sats.
Yeah.
But I did that every single day. I take Sunday off, so it's not 365 days of the year. Let's say it's 265 days of the year, right? For the next 6 years, think about how many sats you would have earned that now have parity with the dollar. Even if it wasn't 2030, let's say it's 2033 or 2035 is finally when you get the parity. Imagine how many sats that little by little your action taking has allowed you to earn without having to pay. Now, granted, what did you pay with? You paid with your time and, in a sense, your energy, right? Because you're walking. For those of you who are paying bills or shopping, oh, my women, y'all be shopping. We be shopping, y'all.
Yeah.
If you're going to be shopping anyway, download those apps like Lolly, Fold, all of these different apps where you can learn how to earn sats for paying bills. I know, shout out to the Jump Out girls. Those are cousins. Cousin Jump Out girls, cousin Maine, cousin Tima.
Yeah.
They, I think it's Maine who pays her child's private school tuition
I believe so.
with the
If I'm getting
fold
that right.
card, right? So imagine she does that every quarter or however often she has to pay tuition, and she's just earning those sets, earning those sets. Stack sat, take a nap. BK Crypto, you right. He be having them phrases he needs to trademark. I'm with you, BK Crypto. And Simon's always talking about stack silver, stack sats. So if there's a way where I can give hubby's wallet a break, I'll earn the sats with my feet, right? And just give hubby's wallet a break. He's gonna be stacking anyway. We have Swan Bitcoin.
Yeah, we're gonna do a whole show on Swan Bitcoin.
But just tell them a little bit about it, sweetheart, what we do every week.
It's just about dollar cost averaging on Swan Bitcoin. You can set it up to your bank account, and you can have it taken out of your bank account at any time. They do it daily now. If you wanted to say save $300 a month in Bitcoin,
Okay, baby.
you can have it taken out once a week, right? They're gonna take out that amount once every 2 weeks. But they have it now to where they take it out once a day. So that would take out basically $10 a day.
So it kind of feel like an acorn kind of thing.
Yeah, and so what it does is it smooths out the volatility. Whether the price, you've seen it pop up to 47, drop down to 40, 40, and everywhere in between. If you're buying it every day, you're not buying it at the highest price or the lowest price, but you're buying it somewhere in the middle, and you're getting a great average across the month.
Right.
And so you don't have to take the big losses. Oh, I bought it at the top, it dropped, and trying to sit around and catch it at the bottom and see if it rises. So that's a good way to smooth out the volatility. We're going to do a whole show on Swan Bitcoin. There's some Swan Bitcoin and people who work for Swan. We're trying to get in touch with, maybe get on and give us the the full rundown
and some nuances that we may or may not be aware of.
So that's something we're working on. But as we said, now you can look up Swan Bitcoin and start, getting your Bitcoin almost daily if need be.
BK Crypto said if y'all was still in the U.S., he would have sent us some crypto apparel. And I would wear it on the show, BK Crypto. I would tell him, I'd be like, boom, he's first. And B, look, is his apparel, right?
Well,
I would wear it.
Okay, I would too.
I would wear your swag, no problem. Yeah, but and that's how we gotta support one another, right? If that's what we could support you with, we would absolutely do that.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
most definitely.
Mexico. Stuff getting to Mexico is something. It's a wonder that they're still alive. The way sometimes I feel like they cut off from the world.
Yeah, the way you move through customs from the United States and Mexico because of some of the problems of, if you will, the drugs and things and people coming back and forth. They're very tight on the things that you can and cannot get.
I mean, your apparel would get here. It would take a while. Very often our stuff gets delayed at customs because they go through every single item. Yeah. But we love that you have some swag. If you want to tell them where they can get your swag from, go ahead and put it in the chat, BK Crypto, and I will be mindful to mention it in our show so that they can grab it. I'll also put it in the drop down so that people have access to your swag. So definitely let us know how people can access it. Oh, KW1 is already. She's got several of BK Crypto's hoodies. So I love that y'all support one another.
It's cold out here. I need a hoodie, please.
Oh, no problem, BK Crypto. We got your back. Just go on and send me the stuff. If you can't put it in the chat, like it doesn't like links and stuff, definitely send me an email. My email's in the Dropbox. That way I can add it to the drop down for every show moving forward. And I'll shout you out so that everybody also knows where to get it from. She bought 7 of them a couple of years ago. Well, thank you, KW1, for supporting your crypto cousin. That's what I'm gonna trademark that, crypto cousins. We're gonna trademark that. But we do need to support our crypto cousins in their business endeavors and stuff like that. If y'all want to support y'all crypto cousins here, all we're asking you to do is to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're not already a subscriber, and try to watch our videos from there. If you get a chance, look back at old videos, because often we talk about so many things that we gotta like rerun the show so that it's new information to newer people. So definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel if you get a chance. KW1 says when she goes live with us one day, she's going to make sure she wears one. Oh, well, you know what, BK Crypto, you're going to have to send me one so the cousins could be matching. We could all be wearing your stuff on that show. So let's figure it out. Even if I got to send you shipping fee. We definitely want to do that. DHL delivers right to our back door, BK Crypto. So please send me an email so we could figure this out, because we definitely want to support you with the hoodies and stuff. And if KW1 come on the show, I definitely want to be wearing my hoodie with her. Mm-hmm. But I want to get back to what we were talking about. We brought up Swan Bitcoin because you might be stacking your sats, but maybe you're not as consistent as you would like to be, right? So this is giving you that kind of universal confirmation, like, you know what, I've been saying that I've been slacking on my sats. I wanted to get more consistent, and here is the confirmation from the universe that I'm looking for. So if you need to be more consistent, ask. What's a way where I don't have to watch it, I don't have to buy it on Cash App myself? Maybe I can use Swan Bitcoin so they take it right from my checking account on the day that I get paid, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you definitely want to be doing that, but just understand that in this reality, in this dimension, action takers get the best outcomes. Action takers get the best outcomes. So you want to be mindful for certain pitfalls where you feel like you're taking action, but you're not really taking action at all. There are some people who feel like they do the visualization, and you should do that, right? It's good for you to do visualization, but you don't actually do the thing. You're visualizing yourself eating healthy, you're doing the affirmations, you're writing it down, and you never eat a piece of fruit or a vegetable or drink a sip of water. These are the little things that we want to kind of tighten up so that we have more consistency. The other thing we are certainly going to repetitiously, what's wrong? Repetitiously talk to you guys about is attaining mastery.
Mastery. We're gonna get right there. Mastery. Let's talk about mastery. I'm gonna shout out to Dearbit. Thank you for joining us. We love Dearbit.
Hi, Dearbit. Hi, Dearbit. Sweetheart. Thank you so much I was over there and came over here. She's hilarious. Watching on both.
So yeah, shout out for that. We love you. We love you guys coming in.
The Colonel's on. Hi, Colonel.
What's up, Colonel? Salute to the Colonel.
Les Squares in the house. It says NJ. Are you in New Jersey? Is in the house? It says GENJ. I'm not sure what part of Jersey that is.
Oh, wow. Jersey.
But Les Squares in the house. So thank you guys for coming. BK Crypto, I'm serious. Email me. Like, don't say I'm going to email you and then forget. That's
you grew up
the passive action I'm talking
Jersey.
about.
Had Jersey. You get to Jersey a lot?
No. Okay. Jersey was like going to another country.
No, I went to New Jersey for a month or two in a place called Fort Dix, New Jersey. Lumberton, New Jersey, if you will. But yeah, like you said, it was a different experience. But shout out to New Jersey.
Mastery.
Oh, mastery. We're going mastery. Who else? Oh boy.
That's Les Square. He said good evening.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I can't read.
I'm on top of the comments, child.
Somebody go get my glasses.
You talk about mastery, I'll stay on top of the comments.
No, mastery. So we want to talk about mastery at the highest level.
Let's start at the threshold level first, right? Because it's levels to this, and we want to get the people who are not at the highest level, at least to the threshold level, and then.
Yeah, so it's a weird dynamic because the threshold level is the highest level for, and then you just go into higher levels. So how would you explain that?
So mastery, right? Again, there's levels to this, y'all. The threshold level is at least 10,000 hours.
In your
field, your hobby, your passion, your purpose, whatever you want to call it, you should attain mastery.
And so let's go over that. Let's attain mastery. I'm sorry, let me read something real quick. We're gonna look at this real quick.
You want me to read it? It's right there.
Oh, I see it right here. So if you guys are familiar with the Malcolm Gladwell, he has a book called Outliers, right? So it's saying you need 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. And it continues, there's a video of it. They call that 417 days worth of 3 hours a day. If you do 3 hours a day, now you need 3,333 days.
That's a master building number, though, so it makes sense. It's a little over 9 years, y'all.
A little bit over 9 years to have
That's
mastery.
only 3 hours a day, right? But
he's saying deliberate, right? It's not just, oh, I work here and deliberate. Are you deliberately learning and trying to master your craft? Mastery is it is paramount in anything that you do. You see people who are very successful, they've mastered their craft. You know, I sit around, I read articles and this and that. I just read an article the other day I told you about. I wasn't familiar, but with L'Oreal, you guys may be familiar with L'Oreal.
Makeup. For the men who don't know what L'Oreal is, it's a makeup company.
The CEO, and it was said that he already worked at L'Oreal for 30 years before he became the CEO. Spent 30 years trying to master whatever the craft was with L'Oreal and the products and the way that the business runs and all that.
And due to his mastery, he was able to streamline L'Oreal into a tech company, right? And that's genius because it's a brick and mortar model. And not only is it a brick and mortar model, right? Because they sell actual tangible products. Him turning it or him finding ways to streamline it and categorize it as a tech company allows them access to tech startup funds, even though they're not a startup, right? If they just categorize themselves, they have access to the things that the tech world has access to because technology is crucial to the moving forward of humanity.
And what you're saying is great. And you talk about people like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Gary Vee. Shout out to Gary Vee. People like Raoul Pal. Some of these CEOs, what they will tell you about these larger companies is that eventually, because of game theory, these companies will have to eventually become tech companies.
Yep.
No matter what they sell, no matter what product they sell you, no matter what thing they are, you have to become a tech company in some form, right? So even if you're selling what you're talking about, women's products for makeup and things like that, you're still a tech company.
Right.
And you can go over companies and companies over and over and over. They have to become tech. And what they're also going to have to do is they're going to have to integrate Bitcoin, right? You got certain companies, we'll take Bitcoin as a payment for whatever you're purchasing. And eventually, over time, because of game theory, these companies will all have to integrate Bitcoin as a payment level of settlement in their company. Just like when you go way back to the 90s and the internet popped off.
And you had to be able to take online payments, right? So people can buy it online. I remember there was a point in time where nobody wanted to buy anything online. Like, no, I would prefer to come to your store and stick my credit card in a little machine and call it a day. And now I'm not getting up out of this bed. We're going to order it right here on this computer or right here on this phone. So, you know, what a difference a decade makes.
And, you know, the first person who really put me on the game theory was definitely Max Kaiser. And he spoke on it. And then a lot of people, you go read Dr. Safety Simoon, you know, you read about a game theory, it just changes it because you have people who will take the chance. And then other companies will be like, well, we have to do the same so that we can keep up. All right, you have to keep up. I'm sorry.
Tron is upset because the Lions are playing. Well, we're Bengals fans, and we just watched Kansas City win, so we were like, let's go live. I'm sorry, Tron. I won't do it again.
It's a long.
We won't go live during Super Bowl, I promise.
Well, yeah, you're in Detroit, Tron.
And then Hassan is checking in. Hi, Hassan. Thank you so much for joining us. Les Square's in South Jersey. So he said
South Jersey? Okay. He was close to Fort Dix. Okay, well, that's awesome. I was out there for a while.
But in mastery, like I said, the threshold of mastery is 10,000 hours. They're saying 9 years if you just spent 3 hours of deliberate practice per day. But we understand that if we are really trying to sharpen our sword, whatever that is, you need more than 3 hours a day towards it. Maybe not every day, but you want to kind of increase that average out to maybe get mastery in less than 9 years. That, by the way, by the time you get to 9 years, you're at a higher level of mastery.
And what he's basically saying, and what she's saying too, stretch it out, 3 hours a day means 21 hours per week.
Right.
So like she said, maybe not every day, but you get the time in mastering your craft.
Adding some more hours to that, from maybe 21 hours a day to maybe,
not a day now, that's a lot.
no, I'm
That's
sorry,
a lot
21
in a
hours a
day,
week
right? Okay.
to maybe 30, 35 hours. It makes a difference, right? While it's only 10 or 15 extra hours a week, over the course of time, you're going to have a higher level of mastery than the threshold. And then you have ultimate mastery. So you hear terms like master barber. You hear terms like master seamstress. I know that sounds old time to certain people, but in industries that provide high-end clothing and stuff like that, those are master seamstresses
Master teachers.
that have to kind of send the
Right.
prototype over. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, Dolce and Gabbana, Gucci and them, it's a master seamstress who puts that outfit together and then sends it off to be manufactured.
Right. And you, like we said, master teachers, people who teach.
Master teachers.
When you break it down into some of the, what do you call them? Some of the trades, right? They start off as apprentice.
Oh, master plumbers, yeah. So apprentice, journeyman.
And then you're a master. And you're talking about, if you say plumber, you're a master plumber, master electrician. And this is the stuff that you have to match. But in these job sites, there are hours required for you to get from apprentice to journeyman to master.
Yeah.
And you have to spend the time. You have to spend the time mastering your craft.
Time and grade, time and service.
For my military people, yes. That would say it again.
Time and grade, time and service. Whether you're in the military or not, if you're looking towards mastery, that's where you at. It's time and grade, time and service, right? For a lot of you who seek health care, you go to a hospital, that nurse or that clinician, whether they're a respiratory therapist, if they're IV therapy, they're coming to stick an IV in your arm, they have to have your paramedic who comes to pick you up to take you to the hospital. They have to have X number of hundreds of hours of practice in order to legally practice in the state, in the country, wherever, right? So just understand how important that time and grade, time and service is. It doesn't matter what you do every day. Whatever it is that you do every day, you should have the commitment to yourself to master it.
You master it. So let me ask you, you were a master. Let me ask you, you were, as was I, a marksman, right?
I was a marksman, yeah.
She's a marksman. This is a sniper right here.
I'm not a sniper, y'all. I ain't never killed nobody.
Okay.
But I was a marksman. Only thing I killed was some paper targets at the range.
So being a marksman, that's mastery of what?
That's mastery of my weapon.
Yeah.
So in addition to being able to get the target at perfect targets, I also had mastery in understanding how to discharge my weapon, understanding how to assemble my weapon, how to disassemble my weapon in a certain amount of time, how to keep my weapon clean, how to troubleshoot if my weapon ever got jammed, especially in the field, et cetera, et cetera. So I had to have mastery in that because of the job I had in the Air Force in my first part of my enlistment. But in anything you do, whether you care about it or not, if this is something you do full time, you should commit to some sort of mastery. It's one of the reasons, it's one of the aspects to mindset that separates poverty from opportunity. I'm going to say it again. Mastery is one of those things that separates poverty from opportunity. When you take the time to master something, your world begins to open and you're able to see the opportunity and the benefits of it. Whether it's for you or for other people, you're able to come up with multiple solutions to solve multiple problems when you have mastery, right? I think anybody over the age of 18 should commit to mastery in adulting, right? There's a lot of adults. I know life happens to people, but there are a lot of adults who've missed several benchmarks, and you're constantly having to help them in life, like constantly. They always need money. They always need help. Nobody's helping them. They're always complaining that nobody helped them do nothing and this and that. They're always blaming somebody else for their shortcomings, their failures due to their inaction. And you want to kind of take that as a case study and just see like, okay, the problem here is that this person did not take the time to master adulting. They didn't take the time to master whatever it is that they needed to do to just be a fully functional adult who can take care of themselves and don't need several people to save them all the time. And we all know people like that. Mastery of self. You're absolutely right, Michelle. Thank you so much for joining us. But it's mastery of self. Two, while we're talking about mastery of self, I have a pet peeve, so I'm going to bring it up. I don't like to hear when people say, I'm Taurus and that's why I'm stubborn. I'm Aquarius and that's why I'm flighty. I'm Scorpio, so that's why I'm argumentative. I'm Capricorn, so that's why, I'm bullheaded or whatever, right? You also have to have mastery of whatever your sign is that you ascribe to, right? If there are 12 zodiac signs, you've got different houses, you got your rising sign, your sun sign, your moon sign, you got all these different signs and all these different houses. You have to master all of that.
And for information, just shout out for the OGs out there who might know, check out C. Freeman L. He will talk to you about mastering these signs and these zodiac signs around, and he will give you some great information that extrapolated out to even to the. I'm not trying to get too far off the road, but to the 12.
The 12 astrological signs.
And he gets them out to the 12
tribes. Oh, to the 12 tribes. Yeah, he does it. He has mastery of that. So he does a great lecture on it. I couldn't even begin to paraphrase the lecture. Y'all got to go watch it. But
C. Freeman L. is what we consider a master teacher. He's mastered his craft. And, shout out to him. He had passed away, I believe, in 2008. But his information lives on.
So when I was younger, I'm going to say my preteen, teenage years. As an Aquarian, right, my birthday's in February, I was well aware of the fact that Aquarians can be what we call flighty, have a whole bunch of projects going, and not finish any of them. I was very well aware of that attribute of Aquarian. We have other Aquarians in the family, and unfortunately, a lot of that shit play out accurately, right? So you sit and you look and you're kind of like, okay, if I know that is a kryptonite for my sign, I now have to go above and beyond in order to ensure that when I have a project, I see that project from start to finish. Now, thank goodness I had the self-awareness of it from younger. I didn't have to wait till I get older. I didn't have to wait till I got older in order to realize that I was kind of realizing it kind of middle schoolish. And because of that, because I took that bull by the horns, I have become extremely efficient in bringing things to fruition, right?
Really?
So from concept to tangible, I've become extremely efficient in doing it. I do it over and over and over again, and I make sure I do it so that it's effortless now at 40.
So the question is, let's run that back. If you understood the fact that you were Aquarian, and
real abstract
and kind of flighty, how did that mesh and play in to the fact that you were a New Yorker as when I met you?
What does that mean?
I just mean I tried to speak to a New Yorker and I was given a New Yorker.
Well, that's different.
Pushback.
No, that's different.
Was that Aquarian or New Yorker?
That's cultural. Yeah, that's the New Yorker thing.
Right.
But after I left New York, I left.
Did you?
Because you're not aware of it when you're there.
Okay.
Right. But when I got to San Antonio, I did notice people speak to you. They say good morning. How are you? They smile at you. New York is a very cold place. People mind their business. Nobody smiles at you. You don't do too much eye contact. They ain't gonna be like, you got a problem with me or something. And that self-awareness in San Antonio, I let go of the things that didn't benefit me and took on, aspects that would benefit me, because we do understand that networking.
And you turned into the beautiful person that you are.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
But that's a good question, though. When rate cuts happen, we won't look silly. Right, in Houston, I don't get it.
I think I get it, but okay.
So, if you say, well, I'm Taurus the bull and that's why I'm so stubborn, you want to kind of like work on that. Maybe I need to be more open to listen first, and maybe I need to be more open to receiving information. He's a different type of Aquarian. Not that we should be sitting down talking that, but we're talking about analyzing things, looking at points of failure, and trying to master that point of failure.
Yeah, and one thing I will say is that in this space, I don't know, anybody's age and where they're at, but we have to, as technology moves forward and forward, we have to have the ability to look back at the younger people and take some information that they're giving us.
Yeah, we have a tendency the new generation has a tendency to dismiss the younger generation, whether it's music.
Older generation.
I'm sorry, the older generation has a tendency, thank you, to dismiss the younger generation. They dismiss their music, they dismiss the way they dress, they dismiss the new slang that we don't understand, and so on and so forth. So that can also be a point of failure because you could miss a new innovative idea or opportunity. So that can be a point of failure. You definitely want to take time to analyze your personality and not use it as an excuse. If you are somebody that don't have nothing to do with your astrological sign, you're like, I tend to procrastinate. Then you want to kind of try to implement a new way of doing things in order to fight that out of you. Why do you procrastinate? Is it because you don't know what to do? Is it that you're too tired to do it? Do you need to look at your health? Do you have a time management issue? And a lot of times procrastinators have time management issues. Are you ill prepared? Right? You could procrastinate because you kind of don't have all of the stuff you need, and you don't feel like putting the energy towards getting the stuff you need in order to fulfill the obligation that needs to be fulfilled. That can be a point of failure. Time management is crucial to everybody's day. We all busy, right? I hear people tell me all the time, like, yeah, I'm busy. I'm like, I have 4 kids, work full time, cook every day. We busy too, right? It's how do you manage your day? How do you manage your time? Do you notice that you spent 6 hours scrolling through Facebook? Do you notice that you spent 8 hours Netflix binging this great television show everybody's been talking about? Little things like that. How do you manage your time? Do you get up late every day? If you're getting up at 11 o'clock every day and trying to get stuff by end of business, which is 4:30 for most people, no matter what part of the coast you're on, you're not going to get much done.
You're not. And time management, that could be a whole show. Let's go in here to the Colonel. I see Colonel got a
He
comment.
said it's a New York state of mind that's only applicable in certain situations in New York. He had to become even more self-aware. Me too, Colonel. And he had to adapt when he left. Yeah. New Yorkers typically, when they leave New York, they do have to adapt to the friendlier world out there.
Yeah, and shout out to the Bronx. Shout out to the Bronx.
Yeah, the Colonel's from the Bronx.
Shout out to the Bronx. Shout out to Queens. Queens in the house. Shout out to Queens.
No shout out to Queens. I've left you behind, Queens. But too, right? Let's talk about the environment. Don't let your environment be an excuse. Don't be like, I'm a New Yorker and that's why, I don't F with people. It's like, well, you need to F with people because social networking is an important part of your life portfolio, right? So looking at different points of failure is integral to gaining the outcomes that you're looking for certain aspects of success. Success is whatever you define it to be. Successful outcomes are whatever you think is a successful outcome. But we do have typical standard rates of measurements for successful outcomes, right? If you own your home, if you have a nice car, maybe you have 2. If you have a nice disposable income, you're not like struggling. You would feel that as a measurement of success.
Yeah.
Right? We've been married for 23 years. We have 4 children. 2 of them are adults. 2 of them are smaller children. I consider that to be a huge level of success.
There you go.
As a wife, as a mom. I'm able to provide the nurturing and the caring that they need, the education.
Yeah.
As a nation builder, I feel like I'm at least at, if not over, the threshold of mastery as far as nation building goes.
How many hours did it say?
Boy, he's 22, so it's way over 9 years.
For everybody.
It's way over 9 years.
So mastery there, and you have to have mastery in what she just talked about. Now, I mean, I'm going to go too far off the subject. You know, we're talking about Bitcoin and investing. Have to have your Bitcoin. Like K, I'm sorry, W1 said, observe the children and grandchildren to help out, keep up with the future. Yes, they help us.
They
keep
help
up,
you to
They help you keep up with the future, right? And that's
innovations of it.
That's a great thing. You know, you have to turn to them sometimes for things. We talk about raising children, and they will teach you things. You know, as the world has it, you're supposed to raise your children and teach them things, but you got to have your ear open because they'll teach you things that you can't see. They see things that you can't see.
The Bible says out of the mouth of babes comes wisdom.
Yep.
So you definitely want to listen to your children, no matter the age. Toddlers and preschoolers and elementary school children are the most profound of the childhood scale that you can get.
Right. And why is that?
Because they're pure, it's pure energy, and they're honest.
And so what would they say that from a scientific standpoint? Dr. Bruce Lipton will tell you that the children from ages to they're born to 7 are in theta.
They're in theta.
So they're in theta. So they have a different way. You're not in theta. Their mind works different. Their brain works different because they're in theta. And so, like she said, they see things differently.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up because for those of you who have children, because they're in theta, they emulate every single thing you do. So I've been trying to get my steps in. And often, if I'm not physically walking somewhere, I'll walk in place so I can get my steps. A lot of times, hubby would be sitting down doing something, and I'll be walking in place while I'm talking to him. I've noticed Santino. You guys have seen Santino. For those of you who haven't, we have a 6-year-old. He's autistic, but he's highly functioning, and he's the funniest kid in the house after Junior, right? So Junior's pretty funny. Junior's pretty damn funny, but Tino's hilarious. But I've noticed lately that Tino will be talking to his brothers and walking in place, and I don't know why he's doing that. But the things that we're telling you, all of the goals that you're aspiring for, aspiring towards, right? Your children are watching you, and they are automatically, after a while, going to do the things you do. Simon and I were sitting talking about our goals, and our 22-year-old walked in the room and he said, you know what? Now that I got this new job, I had to change my goals. So I went and did that yesterday.
Yeah.
Without us having to ask him, what are your goals for the year? Here's your plan for 3 to 5 years. He heard us talking, and he kind of popped his head and said, I just want to let you know, because I got the job, I ended up changing my goals to fit the job in it.
Yeah. And so, and you have to do that.
But that's legacy.
That's legacy. I want to concept LOGI 33. So the overall concept here today, we're just chopping up some good game with the family. You know, some days we have very, what do you call them? Tactical shows, not tactical. What's
technical?
Very technical shows. Today, it's a Sunday. It's an easy day. We chopping up good game with the family and just, you know, going through the comments, seeing what people are talking about. So that's the overall concept for today's show.
To dial down a little bit deeper, Logie, our show is called Assets and Arbitrage. And it's not just about stacking sats. We're heavy into precious metals since this is your first time here. So we also collect a significant amount of silver and gold, precious metals. But our show is understanding that the arbitrage, or the opportunity in wealth building, has a lot to do with mindset in your life portfolio. So in addition to talking about diversifying your investment portfolio with certain coins, Bitcoin, precious metals, stocks, what do we call FANG stocks, blue chip stocks. We also talk about how you can diversify your life portfolio, because the people who have wealth have a specific mindset that goes along with it. It's not just, I got 16 Bitcoin, I'm good to go, I can be my best shitty self. That's not how that works.
And also we want to, when we can, talk about wealth, and it's not always about money and stacking of assets. Wealth could be your family. My wife, this is wealth. This is wealth, right?
Oh, thank you.
That's wealth. My wife, my children, my household. That's wealth. That's wealth to me. Health is wealth, right? We did a show on health as well, but that's paramount, man. Your health is your wealth. You can have all the money in the world if you're not healthy. What you gonna do with it?
Right. So Strength said that their infant daughter used to copy them doing push-ups. The site alone backs up what you're speaking on. So I'm glad you said that, because again, for those of you who have just came on, we were talking about a great way to stack sats is an app called S Miles. So you can download it. S Miles allows you to stack sats through shopping and walking or running, right? Whatever activity, it's walking or running. So we had the boys go ahead and download it to their phones as well, so they can be stacking sats just like we're stacking sats. Tino doesn't have a phone, but they have the wheel every day. So in the morning, Tino will say, "Mommy, it's time to spin the wheel." So I'll go ahead and open up S Miles, just like on Fold.
Just like Fold. Love Fold.
So I'll open S Miles, and Tino would try to win some Bitcoin sats for Mommy. Using the wheel, right? Because he doesn't have a phone, he can't stack sats, but the older boys can because they have phones. Stronghold tokens, still on the cheap, family, but it won't last long, so go get you some. This is John Robinson. I'm not familiar with stronghold tokens, so I can't speak to it. I'm not familiar with it at all.
Can I, I'm sorry.
Oh, wow, you're going to download that. S Miles, or spell Smiles. You do need to download Google Fit Strength in order to it'll upload to S Miles. It's not a real-time pedometer. So if you have a smartwatch, or I would actually use or download a better pedometer, it does it cumulatively. So you have to wait for it to refresh. Every so often I get frustrated with it. And every now and then you do get what I like to call juked. That's the West Indian word. You get juked out of some of your steps.
You get stabbed.
Well, juked also mean like you take an L,
okay.
If you got juked, you got stabbed, but you took an L.
That's what Ghostface told me.
He got juked.
I thought you got stabbed.
Colonel Bronx Don is on here, Strength, and I think he got juked out of 2 miles. I don't know if it refreshed and he was able to regain his 2 miles, but I'm often about 4,000 to 6,000 steps behind my smartwatch on S Miles. But hey, right? All the sats count. You earn 1 sat for every 1,000 steps. So as soon as you do your first 1,000 steps, they say you earn 1 sat. And then I do anywhere between typically 15 to 20,000 steps a day. I'll earn about 16 to 20 sats after that. Sometimes it's 18, it's real random. But you should earn less than 20 a day if you can do more than 10,000 steps.
Exactly. And I'm going to do a hard pivot.
Yes, sir.
Hard pivot, because something I wanted to get way back to. So for my people, we were talking about mastery, right?
Yes.
So Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, if you're familiar with him, and I'm not sure how most people feel about him, but one thing he says is you should know 10 times more about what you're talking about. So what happens is you see people on YouTube, on your Facebook, your Twitter, and this, that, and third. You need to know 10 times more. A lot of people pop up, right? These new people pop up. They got these new situations, coins, where you can get in. You can win your trade, which drives me crazy.
You win a trade.
You win a trade.
Like a casino.
So you need to know 10 times more than what you're talking about.
Yes.
What does that go into your mastery?
Boy, how often do you guys go down your timelines or your social network app and see people talking about Bitcoin, and you're looking at it and you're like, you guys have no idea what you're talking about? Or the MLM approaches you, try to fast talk you into joining some ridiculousness, and you just understand that this person doesn't really know what Bitcoin is. They don't understand it. They don't understand how it works. Or somebody's trying to introduce you to an altcoin, and you're asking them questions about it. You don't know much about it, but you know what questions to ask. and you realize in the engagement that this person has no idea what they're talking about with this altcoin that they're trying to promote to you. Then you have those who like to regurgitate other people's talking points. And when you start asking questions, you see how quick that falls apart. You can tell that it's just a regurgitation of it. This person has no real overstanding. They don't have any type of breath or depth into the content. These are the things that can be a point of failure, because you can get sucked into something thinking this person knows what they're talking about and lose your money.
And you heard, if you heard the last show we had with Bitcoin Zay, shout out to Bitcoin Zay, he told you he could stand on stage and take 2 hours of questions about Bitcoin and just answer them off the rip.
Yep.
Because he has mastery of it.
Zay does what I call great apologetics. You can ask him any question off the cuff, and he has so much knowledge of it, so much technical knowledge of it, that he can answer your question. Max Kaiser is an excellent apologist. Michael Saylor, he got the rocket science level of apologetics when it comes to Bitcoin. And that's just Bitcoin, right? Because what we're saying is it's not just Bitcoin. We are saying whatever it is that you're doing, if you have mastery in that thing, you will begin to develop that process towards other things that you're passionate about, other things that you understand. I spoke to someone this was a while ago, a couple years ago, and they had great knowledge of Bitcoin, right? They understood it. Great knowledge of it, what was going on. It's up to date, the mining, the halving. In the conversation, though, I realized that the person has no idea how to budget a household, right? So their money was always kind of messed up. Their money was funny. And that's a point of failure. If you can get your household budget together, like how you have the concept of Bitcoin, you will have more disposable income to invest towards your Bitcoin, your altcoin, your precious metals, whatever it is you're trying to do to save your economic energy. And this is why I tell people wealth building is more than just stacking sats. It's more than just collecting beautiful silver or gold troy ounces. You have to be able to have a level of discipline and commitment that will allow you the opportunity to maximize and optimize your ability to invest in that thing. And these are the points that we really kind of want to make when we talk about failure to launch and points of failure. So in the last show, I talked to you about, for your action takers, for your risk takers, right? Points of failure are great. They're integral for you to gain experience. They're integral for you to have a more long-term approach to other things, like, okay, if I adapt this way, I know I can fix this and leverage this here and so on and so forth. But in this show, we're looking at actual points of failure.
Points of failure are bad. You won't have points of failure like in a business. They don't set it up like that. Like, say somebody was a certain position, and if that person's not at work that day, that can't be the point of failure.
That can't be the point of failure for your business.
Yeah. So you gotta watch out points of failure. Let's go back to the Colonel. The Colonel said something, and
He says, what does LMNM stand for in relation to what, Colonel?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
And then he said 10x knowledge allows you to ad-lib effortlessly.
Exactly. So and because we're in the military, if a man makes it to the rank of the colonel, he has 10x knowledge. And yes,
it's so hard to get the Colonel, y'all.
Yeah, and you can ad lib effortlessly because you know what you're talking about. Yes. It's not questions. You're not like looking at your notes and stuff. You should be able to talk about at a mastery level what you know about.
Here come a master, PFC Wells. Damn, you late for the live. PFC Wells be knowing what he's talking about. Hopefully, PFC Wells will be joining us. You just let me know, PFC Wells. That's my dude. But another aspect of mastery is having the humility to tell people when you're not familiar with something. Right? The gentleman came in, he talked about the stronghold coin. I'm not even going to act like I know what that is. This is the first time I'm hearing of it. So I'm not familiar with it. often people will ask us questions just assuming that because we know a lot about this, that we know a lot about that. But I don't know anything about that. You tell me, you share me, you enlighten me on what's going on. So a aspect of mastery is having the humility to not act like you know everything, to not act like you're the smartest person in the room, but to have the humility to be like, I don't know enough about that in order to have this conversation with you. I don't know enough about that to debate this with you. I'm not trying to argue with you about it. I don't know either which way, but I often see people arguing about things, and you can tell when one party just isn't well versed enough in this argument to be a part of this argument. So I think I thought I answered you. Did I leave it? Let me check and make sure it's not stuck in my drafts. Because I know I answered you that day. So I just want to make sure I did not send it, or if you could check to make sure you received it. I'm 1,000% sure. I got to check and make sure it's not stuck in my draft. Yeah, because I thought you said Monday, PFC well. So just let me know, because I may have to rearrange that.
So we getting on with Monday with him?
I would like to.
Okay.
But I'm going to. Yeah, he does. PFC Wells asks a lot of questions. And I'm going to tell you, your top salesmen, right, the ones who have mastery in sales, whenever you sit and watch that transaction, if any of you guys ever get to watch a top level salesman at work, they get the sale by asking questions. They don't tell you what this is. They don't tell you what this does. They don't tell, they sell. And a way that they do that is really asking you questions, trying to kind of walk you towards your answers for you to understand at the very end of this conversation that you need this thing in which I'm selling. Gotcha. I'm not convincing you of it. I'm not going to argue with you about it. I'm just going to ask you a whole bunch of questions that walks you into a corner so you come to the realization yourself. Asking questions, that's what children do. We call them precocious, and we really shouldn't. We should call them intelligent children. Children learn by asking questions. That's why small children ask 1 trillion questions a day. It feels
it drives
like
you crazy. You know when you tell somebody.
But why?
Yeah.
And why? And why?
That's your favorite word.
Why? Why, mommy? So
in Mexico, por qué? Por qué?
He said he just needs a hard time for money.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what that means, PFC Wells. Just need a hard time for money. I'm not sure what that is. But if you could just clarify that statement. So you really want to take note to what your points of failure could possibly be. And a lot of times, just across the board, right, in the bell curve, points of failure are typically poor time management.
Yes.
Poor consistency.
Yes.
Poor discipline.
Yes.
Those 3 things. If you can address those 3 things, no matter what it is you're trying to do, whether it's money, health, whether it's relationship, if you can fix those 3 areas, you should see a significant increase in better outcomes.
Okay, so we got to slow down for people. Let's. So he's asking.
What is arbitrage?
Okay.
And you said too close to it. I can read it.
I'm sorry. I gotta read it.
I know. I can read it though. So he wants to know what arbitrage is in the world of investment.
So arbitrage is there's a strict definition if you went to Wikipedia or you went to Britannica.
Actually, Britannica.
You will get a very strict definition. But arbitrage, basically, as we define it, is a way to find, I don't want to call them loopholes, but ways that you can leverage the things that you have going in your favor in other areas and other places. So the best way to
consider it like finding that sliver of opportunity.
Yeah. So
in this particular
what
thing.
we would say is if you had a job making money in the US dollar and you move to another country, the arbitrage right there is that the dollar is stronger than the currency
of that country.
So that's the arbitrage of moving abroad. You can have all kind of arbitrages all over the place.
Technological arbitrages. They're really just the opportunity that allows you to leverage some type of advantage over that thing. So it's assets and arbitrage. We're always looking for the opportunity, that sliver of opportunity that we can utilize to leverage a benefit for us as investors. We're talking about the wealth transfer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We talk about planting your flag. Logie, we have
We had
an older show called Flag Theory.
part two. It was just two
Part
shows
two.
ago.
It's a couple shows ago, probably about 4 shows ago.
Yeah.
So if you want to go, definitely subscribe to Simon Family Investment Ventures, and you should see the shows there. But that's typically what our shows are about. And today, when we talk about failure to launch, and we're talking about points of failure, identifying those points of failure allows you to now position yourself mindset wise and action wise in order to find arbitrages and opportunities and be ready for them. Because some of the things that people don't understand is that some people feel like they're locked out of opportunity altogether, but very often opportunity comes their way and they're ill prepared for it.
This is true.
And you don't want that to be. It's one thing if you're locked out of an opportunity. It's another thing where you could create the opportunity, but you can't because you're not in a position to do it because you're ill prepared.
Okay, and that's a great example. He said PFC Wells. Shout out to PFC Wells. He said Monday.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk to PFC Wells in email in a little bit. Oh, Crazy Bronx Don. I said MLM. So the multi-level marketing, MLMs, not I get what he's asking now. MLMs. They're multi-level marketing. Very often I will get these weird inboxes on Facebook and their bio is this long, they're Bitcoin experts, yada 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 yada, and they're trying to sell me something ridiculous. And I go out of my way to engage with them because I want to see how much do you actually know about Bitcoin and whatever this is, this platform that you're selling. And 9.5 times out of 10, they don't know shit. And it makes the space look bad. And it makes me upset because when we go out to talk to other people about Bitcoin and the intrinsic value of freedom that comes with it, that's one of the arbitrages of Bitcoin, y'all, is the level of freedom that we have from the system. We often talk to you guys about Dr. Neely Fuller's area of activities that keep you tethered to the system, and the system kind of winds you up and integrates you like a meat grinder. Bitcoin has an arbitrage, an intrinsic value of freedom.
Yeah, and we go over those areas of activity with the Dr. Neely Fuller and Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, and we go over those time to time, right? And we talk about them. There's about 8. Some people have added 2, so maybe 10 if you wanted to go all the way through these areas of activity that he says you need to remove yourself or release yourself from.
Right.
And they're very hard to release yourself from.
Difficult.
They're very difficult to release yourself from. But once you figure out how to, you get more and more freedom.
Yes.
No, now you're not going to get ultimate freedom. That's just not going to happen. But a little bit more freedom, right?
Yes. Right. And like I said, there's the arbitrage if you needed a real world example, a real world application of what arbitrage is.
And remember, the game is because a lot of things in his talking about tethered to being into the system is the political system.
Oh God, yeah.
And so when you get out of the country,
you're not part of that media.
And because wherever you live, you do not have the, I guess, ability to vote and pick who you want in office.
But you also don't get the propaganda that goes along with political candidates, current policy, and so on and so forth.
So how do you deal with the political people here?
We don't.
We deal with them directly.
We don't. Oh, you mean the mayor?
Yeah.
That's different.
No, I'm just saying, you didn't vote for the mayor.
No, we didn't.
But when you need something done, what do you do?
Go right to his door.
We go to the mayor.
He's our neighbor, so
yeah,
when we have complaints.
The mayor lives down the street.
He just knock on his door.
We knock on his door, and it's not, we didn't vote for him, but we knock on his door and tell him our complaints. And then
so that's a little different, right? So that goes back into flag theory. Because we planted our flag here for the newbies here on, right? We live in a small place in Mexico called Ixtlahuaca de Rayon. So arbitrage for us as well is, I'm going to read because I have some questions too. PFC Wells has questions. I have a question with them. In East Loaca de Rayon, part of our flag planting and social networking is also social influence. Okay.
Okay.
So we realize our revenue that we get from the United States is mainly poured into this community. We do not receive a peso from Mexicans, so we're not exploiting them. However, right, because of the amount of capital that we pour into their local economy and it's significant to them, we have what's called social influence. It is an arbitrage we have for planting our flag here. When we have issues, even though we're not citizens, the mayor takes our audience, because if we were ever to get frustrated, angry, or upset with mistreatment here, we would leave and take our capital with us, and the local economy would feel that immediately.
We suffer.
Right? So indirectly, our social influence allows us the arbitrage of being able to get things done in our favor for our benefit, despite not being of the people and of the land. So that's some of the things we talk about when we're talking about flag planting.
Flag planting. And I don't want to go too far in this. You guys let me know, because I know a lot of stuff in the United States is about Black people voting and who they're voting for. And we're trying to tell you, you can get out in the world globally
and work it a different way.
Work it out a different way. Yeah. We don't have the option of voting, and it's not even anything we have to think about.
And we're afforded privileges and, in a sense, rights that we're not even afforded in our own country by our own people under our own citizenship. So just kind of understanding that part of flag planting is go where you're treated best, but understand the gravity, the power of your social influence and the capital that you're putting into that area. You guys put capital into your own country, into your own city. The migrants come through, they get prioritized over you every day of the week. For my New Yorkers out there, am I right or am I wrong, right? The migrants came, they're coming from all over the world. They are prioritized over you, the citizen, who's paying the taxes so that they can be there. So ours works a little bit in reverse. They're not paying the taxes so we can be there, but our capital holds weight in our social influence. So the mayor, and they call him the commandant, but the police commissioner, those are our two, what would you call them? Role players here in the city. When we have issues, we go right to them. They handle it because they understand the weight and the gravity of our social influence here in their local economy. So that's arbitrage. That's another real world example, Logi, of arbitrage. And again, y'all, we never tell y'all anything we don't do for real, right? I'm not a Forex trader, but I Forex trade in real life by exchanging our US dollar to Mexican pesos. We do it with our social influence, our capital pouring into an economy. Granted, the peso is strengthening against the dollar, but we still have enough capital to where it's not really a discussion.
Great explanation.
Okay, PFC Wells, you asked a great question because I got that question too. John, you said that it's an ISO 2022 compliant crypto that's regulated by the SEC, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So PFC Wells, I read it.
Okay.
It's the Stronghold crypto. PFC Wells asked the same question I have. How does that work for Bitcoin complacency?
What does that say?
Can my current habits get me to my desired future? He was just talking about what we were talking about. So John, if you could just explain that to us, we would like that. Logi33 said, or Logi33 said, how did you get into crypto? What's your story? Any tips? Nice stream. A lot of people probably don't know. Well, Simon tells the story. Simon had I call him a battle buddy that introduced him to Bitcoin. This was back in the day of paper wallets, y'all. It was shaky as hell. I think at the time that his friend introduced him to Bitcoin, Bitcoin was like $600, $640?
No.
3 something?
Under the twos.
It was under 1,000. I remember that.
Under the twos, under 200.
Wow.
Sangores. Sangores.
What is that?
That's his last name.
Oh.
I can't find him anymore.
But it's
shout
battle
out
bunny.
Sangores.
Yeah, he's not a social media
Airman Sangores.
So his friend introduced him Simon played with it a lot. Now, one thing you guys need to know is that Simon is, I call him a market genius. So he's able to read the markets. He knows the flags. He can read technicals. He can read charts. He knows the wedges and all of that other stuff. I'm learning. This is him. This is me. Maybe lower, outside of the camera range. So at the time, it did catch his attention. This is back when we used to have like paper stocks and stuff like that. And so, what year is this?
2012, right?
This is before Costa Rica.
Yeah.
I felt like it was second Woodburn.
Costa Rica first when we got out.
So it'd be first Woodburn.
Yeah.
First Woodburn is the address we lived at, and then we lived there again the second time after Costa Rica. So Simon's been doing this since, I'm gonna say 2011, 2012.
1998. Please put some respect on my name.
What's 1998?
That's when I first started with the investments.
Not the investments, Bitcoin. He's asking about crypto.
Oh, sorry.
But I was just saying that, like, Simon was already a markets guru, and his battle buddy understood that. So he's like, I want to introduce you to a more technological aspect to come. And he started telling Simon the vision of Bitcoin. This is when they had paper wallets. I remember one of our paper wallets got wet. That's how old this is.
Well, this cat was telling me early on about iPhone 1. Before iPhone 1 came out, I'm like, man, you can have it.
Before the smart,
And then the iPhone 1 came out. I said, dang, he was telling me about that 2 years ago.
And then you got the 3GS. I remember that.
Yeah, but he was telling me about stuff way before it would come out. And I'm like, man, this dude know what he's talking about. So when he said something, I said, I better listen.
So he's been fooling around with it since then. Yeah. And then we went to Costa Rica in 2012, 2013, came back to the United States. So that was a failure to launch. Let me make that clear, right? Everybody talk about the wins, the W's. Let me tell y'all, Costa Rica it wasn't a hot mess. It was a great learning experience, but we failed to launch the way we wanted to. Mexico, this expedition here, this is Tino, y'all. Say hi. Come on, say hi.
I just want food.
You want some food? Go get some food. That's Tino. That's our 6-year-old. Oh, you want the phone? Get the phone, baby. And let your brothers help you. Go let your brothers help you. So what we established here, we were unable to do in Costa Rica. At the time, we were getting payments from the United States military. Government shut down for like a month. So our paper was all messed up. And we ended up having to move back to the United States to kind of analyze and try to relaunch. That was in 2013. We didn't move to Mexico till 2017. And that was about the time when Simon started teaching me Bitcoin. Bad time to teach me, right? Because it went all the way up to 20,000. Do y'all remember that? It was flying. And then one day I looked and it was 3,000. So we lost a shitload of money, y'all, right when we got to Mexico. We didn't start in this big, beautiful house. Understand that? So we took a few L's. And Simon said, you know what, Aaron, we are too invested in this to give up on it. But he also understood how the market worked, right? It wasn't a abandoned ship. He said, what goes down must come back up. He started talking to me about resistance, all-time highs, all-time lows, in order to really kind of build my confidence and understanding. Because I thought that was disastrous. I didn't know what the hell was going on. To help me to understand how this thing was going to work. And he was right. Sure enough, Bitcoin started climbing again 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. And we've been on that crypto road ever since. We don't really get involved in a lot of altcoins.
Alternative coins is not our thing.
That's not our thing.
I know they have utility and things that you use. We have altcoins in our portfolio.
Yeah, we got like XRP, we got Solana, we got.
Oh man, we got
Cardano.
Yeah.
We have
Casper, if you guys are familiar with Casper.
Hedera Hashgraph. What was that called?
HBAR.
HBAR. We got HBAR.
I can't remember all of them because it's so many of them. But we have a healthy portfolio of altcoins. But Bitcoin is the one that we really go in hard on.
Yeah, he's a Bitcoin maxi, if you want to call it.
That's what
and
they
we're
would call
precious
them.
metal maxis.
That's what they call it.
And Logi, Any tips? Consistency, which is what the whole show is about.
Consistency.
We're big on dollar cost averaging, Logi, in order to mitigate the volatility of Bitcoin.
Go ahead. Put your face in.
He did. He said hi to them already. So consistency, discipline, right? Bitcoin Zay, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, Logi. His name is Isaiah Jackson. You definitely want to look him up on Twitter. If that's the gentleman of crypto, so I'm hoping you're familiar with him. This is their channel. He just wrote a book. It's going to be available in February, where in one chapter he gives you 33 free ways to earn Bitcoin without having to purchase it. So you definitely want to look into those kind of things. What other tips besides dollar cost averaging to mitigate volatility? Dollar cost averaging to build. Low time preference. Tell them all about that.
Well, low time preference. So there's two things. It's something that has been posited by Dr. Saifedean Ammous. If you're familiar with him, he wrote the book, The Bitcoin Standard, and also the Fiat Standard. These are books that you guys should go check out by Dr. Saifedean Ammous. He will tell you low time preference and high time preference is a study about people where low time preference is you wait. You might have a long kind of investment, right?
Mm-hmm.
High time preference is people that you see. They come around, they want to flip, they want a 10 bagger right now. Those people, that's not how you invest. That's not
But
how
that's
you invest.
never how you gain any type of wealth, period.
Time. So low time preference by Dr. Saifedean Ammous. Check that out. But it just means you have to be patient with your investments. You're not getting rich overnight, correct?
No such thing. You're not going to get famous overnight. You're not going to get rich overnight. They're
Not the right
poor
way.
narratives.
Not the right way.
But even the people who it seems like they have overnight fame, when they tell you their story, you realize they've been doing it for a long, long time. Beyonce been singing since she was like 7.
Yeah, so
and you didn't know her till she was about 20.
He said great books. You understand? And I've been in contact with Dr. Saifedean Ammous. We love to get him on here.
We're working on it,
and
y'all.
chop up some game. So we're working on it. These are busy and highly requested individuals, so it's hard. It's hard to get in there. But I'm talking to him and see what we can do. PFC Wells, if we can get something going with the doctor. It's been like that in New York for decades.
The migrants getting priority over
decades.
Yeah, for a long time. Well, he's just saying in general, like how we moved here and we have a whole bunch of perks. They moved to New York and think about how well they do.
I'm sure
right? They get the loans, they get to start businesses, they get incentivized to do things that the citizens don't have access to. And that's why it's like, well, reverse engineer that bitch and try to plant your flag somewhere so that you can find the arbitrage for your legacy building purposes.
So remember, when you're planting your flags in other places, we went over this, but it's always good to talk about. You have to look for the reverse engineering. If you see people from other countries getting, what do you call it? Preferential treatment, but more, you have to understand that you can go to another country
and get the same
and receive preferential treatment. Yes. And then you can build your business, your investments, and all these things. That's why we say, look to plant flags. Look for other places, 200 countries as they have, and probably 250 if you talk about the territories and everything. Mm-hmm. Look at these other places that you can possibly go and plant a flag. Anything. Open up a bank account. Start a business. Have like a winter home, for 2-3 months.
Yeah, you don't have to be there permanently, right? Especially if that's going to be like a culture shock to you. Mm-hmm. Maybe just a place you can go for X portion of the year. But for my work from homers, my remote workers, my techies, how many countries now have some type of incentive for you to come there and work?
Yep.
Right? If you work from home for a United States company and you make X amount of dollars per month or per year, they give you all sorts of different incentives, and you just have to do your due diligence on which country is the best.
Okay.
And what those incentives are, mm-hmm. and do they benefit you in a way where you feel like you're receiving a significant amount of value.
Okay. That's what's up. And so another thing I want to go into real quick, you guys, if you don't mind, what she just said about working from home, receiving payment in US dollars, let's talk about this, and you guys have to always be on top of this, the IRS, right?
Oh, yes.
So the IRS just changed it to $126,000, I think.
I think so. The
Uh,
tax,
yeah. So
if you live abroad, you definitely have to look into all of, because they don't apply to everybody who's planting a flag
if you live abroad, you have to make over $126,000
before you have to pay.
in taxes.
We pay taxes, y'all.
But that could be per person. So if you file separately, you could be a family. You make 120 something. They make, and you don't have to even pay taxes. And people say, "Oh, that's a loophole." Nah,
So if
we're
you,
just using the laws. They made laws, and we're using the laws to our advantage. And that's that. You
So-
come abroad, and even if you aren't abroad
permanently
or physically,
Yeah.
if you have it set up where this is my residence, but I work over here, boom. You don't even have to you don't have to get beat up by taxes. That's why a lot of people with money move abroad, because they can just
Yeah.
move around the
they
taxes.
can move around the taxes.
And there's a lot of ways, and people, they get on you like, "Oh man, you don't want to pay your fair." What do you mean fair? What do you mean fair?
If you can't move around the taxes, right? You definitely have to be on top. Get an accountant, get a CPA, do whatever you need to do. Whatever you pay them will be worth it,
Yeah.
right? So understanding how to establish certain areas so that you can maximize your write-offs, so you can maximize your standard deductions, whatever they may be for you.
Mhm.
You have to master those things, and you can't always, I'm not saying take on the expertise of a CPA, but you need to have mastery in how your taxes work. That I'm saying, right? If you're running a business, if you are a high income earner, that means you're also in a position where you're also going to be giving away your money to the IRS. You don't want to have to give them your money because you're a high income earner. Master, you sit down with your CPA, say, hey, what are you doing? I ask 10,000 questions because I want to know, in the event that something comes up, I know what's going on with the money.
Okay.
Right? What can I write off? How much what do I need to do? What should we do next tax year? So on and so forth. Be the master of your taxes so you're not giving away your money. And I'm talking to the high income earners who do have to pay a significant amount of taxes. So far, we've been lucky, but the work that Simon and I do every single month, all 12 months, when we get around the tax time, we don't have those penalties and stuff. And actually, we do really, really well, but we've paid that luxury tax in time. Right? Just kind of bird dogging it, pit bulling it, so that we don't have to give the IRS a significant amount of our money. Bitcoin, for those of you who don't know, most of you should know this, but for those of you who don't know this, Bitcoin is categorized by the IRS as property in cyberspace. If you are like, you know what, I don't like real estate, right? I don't like real property. Instead of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour into Bitcoin as though I was either saving for a house or paying on a house.
There you go.
And that's a way where you can have property in cyberspace, because that's how you're going to get taxed with it, right? Instead of having real property, if that's not your thing. Simon and I have done real property. I don't like it. The reality of real property, and I'm not persuading anybody for or against, I'm just making a statement. Real property is a liability until it becomes an income generating asset. And I'm not for liabilities at this point in my life. So we pour all of that into Bitcoin. We pour all of that into precious metals, right? Which is the tangible aspect to me of property, right? It's something we can transfer to our children today.
Yeah.
Upon our demise, they get it immediately. It's for the grandchildren. It's not even for them, because we can take care of them in our lifetime, but we want to give the grandchildren a head start. And we don't have any grandbabies yet. But I'm waiting, y'all. I've been waiting patiently for that first grandbaby. I'm going to be a great grandma, y'all. So, these are the arbitrages. These are the opportunities that benefit you. And if you have the ability to act on them, absolutely act on them. Treat your Bitcoin like you would if you were saving for a house, like you would if you were living in a house. I'm going to pay this mortgage every single month, except you're not paying a mortgage to a bank. You're not paying a debt deed. You are paying into an already income generating asset. You don't have to wait for it to become an income generating asset. If you have a mortgage for 30 years, that's a liability, right? Because it's taking money. It's not making money. You have to pay the taxes on it every year. You have to replace the roof. You got to replace the water heater. You got to replace the deep freezer. There's mold in the wall. What else go wrong with the house? New carpet. The floorboards ain't right. Yada, 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 yada. Right? The term mortgage, because y'all know that English is a spell, hence the term spelling, means death deed. You're going to pay that off till you die.
Exactly.
Your Bitcoin, first time you purchase it, it's already an income generating asset, right? You can turn around and sell it, make some money on it, especially when the market's up. Obviously, you wouldn't sell it when Bitcoin is on a downtrend. You sell it when Bitcoin's on an uptrend. You would take profits then. So if that's how you were treating it, because the IRS says that it's property, it's just property in cyberspace, it's like a virtual property, that is your opportunity, that is your arbitrage.
Okay.
And it's a great mindset pivot if you see it as such, instead of giving your money to the bank, right? When we start talking about mortgages, in addition to the mortgage being 30 years, you have all these different mortgages. You have the arms, you got the balloons, you got, it's going up. Your mortgage started off at, $1,300, and towards the end of your mortgage, now you're paying, almost $3,000 a month. So all of those different things where the bank makes money off of you, you have a incredible opportunity in arbitrage if you treated Bitcoin like the cyber property that it is, the cyberspace property that it is. We're at the 125 mark.
Oh, that's fine. Well, I mean, I liked everything that you said.
I liked everything that you liked everything I said.
It was pretty good. That was really good.
Did you want to say anything else? Are you looking something up?
Yeah, I was looking something up real quick. I was just looking for the.
Just give us 1 second. He wants to.
I want the actual. Sorry.
So the word mortgage is derived from a law French term used in Britain in the Middle Ages, meaning a death pledge. It refers to the pledge ending or dying when either the obligation is fulfilled or the property is taken through foreclosure. A lot of properties are taken through foreclosure. So you did all of that paying and you don't have the property. If a mortgage is 30 years, can a 20-year-old buy a house? Typically, can a 20-year-old buy a house? No. Typically, most people get their houses when they are 40-ish, right? Because that's when your income it's when you've got mastery in your industry. It's when your income is kind of where it's supposed to be. It's when you're at the climax of your family, right? 40 plus 30 is 70. How many Black people live to be 70?
Black men, no. But
right? Yeah. So just kind of understand what we mean when we say there's an arbitrage in looking at it differently. That was a traditional way to do it. So I'm going to tell y'all, in 1983, my mother and father bought a house on Long Island, Nassau County, for $80,000. In 2005, they said they wanted to move to Florida, which is typical of most New Yorkers. My parents sold that house for $500,000. You see the arbitrage in that? You can't do that now. So conversely, the person who bought the house, regardless of, my parents fixing it up over the years and making it contemporary, right? They really bought an $80,000 house for $500,000. That's nuts, right? My parents got the arbitrage, but you, the buyer, didn't, because that's just what the market price is now. Simon and I were watching this video. Watching the video of these houses in California. They're $3, $4, $5 million houses. They look like a regular 4-bedroom home in the middle of any state, any city, USA.
Yeah.
Right? If I see $5 million price tag, I expect to see multiple houses, 3-car garage, private front drive, Lambo parked in the front, pool in the back. I don't expect to see a regular 4-bedroom, barely 2-story Cape Cod in California. So just kind of understanding how we can't necessarily do the things that our mom and dad did, that Big Mama did, right? That Papa did. We have to kind of move along and see where the new arbitrage is. And for us, property in cyberspace, you can't beat that, honey. Can't beat that. It is an asset right now. It ain't even a liability first, like real property. So we've had y'all way too long. We love y'all. It's Sunday. I hope Tron got to enjoy the Detroit Lions game. We sorry, we won't do that again. We were mad about the Kansas City outcome because we Bengals fans. Who they? And PFC Wells. Ooh, that's the route you're taking. Let me see. I want to see what his answer was. So John answered our question. Wait. PFC Wells first. When most people hear migrants, they think brown skinned folks, but that's not the only ones coming in NYC. No, you got Asians and all sorts of other migrants entering into New York City and all across the country. I brought up New York because I'm a New Yorker, but Chicago's having the same problem. I think Georgia's having the same problem. There's multiple states and cities that are having these issues. And it's been like that for decades. Okay. So John Robinson said, go ahead and Google the crypto compliant cryptocurrencies, and it'll give you the list that gives the green light on what cryptos will be allowed to do operation in the U.S. He said Bitcoin is a psyop. Okay, I'm not going to dig into that. So better to chill in the walled garden than try to go outside. I'm not really sure what those comments are, but we love y'all so much. PFC Wells, I'm going to go check my email now, make sure you're not stuck in my draft. And
yeah, I want to know if he's doing Monday.
Yeah, that's tomorrow. And if not Monday, definitely Wednesday, if that's too soon. So that's no problem. But we're going to be going live Monday, Wednesday. I hope y'all can keep Friday and Saturday fluid. Sometimes Saturday is better for us sometimes than Friday. But sometimes Friday works. So be fluid on the Friday, Saturday joint, but Monday and Wednesday will be pretty solid around 7 Eastern. Good night, KW1. Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Please, we don't sell y'all anything. We don't ask y'all for money, but I am going to ask you guys to subscribe to the Simon Family Investment YouTube page. We love y'all, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.